What the hell? Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It has been a while since my last live stream, and I just thought I'd come here and actually say hi. Also, been a while since my last upload. Hey guys, what's up? I have what do you call this? Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're at. Who's there, man? Who's there? Who's there? I've been trying to like do videos and stuff, but I've been having issues with my GoPro. So, oopsie. There is a video coming up, and it's actually kind of a big one. It's I honestly thought it would be like an okay topic and all that. But then it kind of ballooned into something bigger. So I just decided to actually make like a video that would be useful instead of just making one for the sake of making one. Slow down jigging. Hey, good morning. Where are you from? Slow down. First time I'm seeing you actually. I could have remembered the name, but where are you fishing from? So I'm building something here also, and this is kind of like a rig that I'm gonna be using. So all I am doing is twisting this wire, just so I have like a length I can work with, right? Oh, it's not gonna be clean. Oh man! Oh, hello, your neighbors. Um, Yellowfin season is in full swing in Oman, and pretty soon it's gonna be winter, so that opens up a lot in Oman. I don't actually get a lot of viewers from Oman. There's a couple of people here I know from Oman. It's been subscribers. Uh, Whoa! Whoa! DQ! Holy shit! How are you, DQ? Oh, there's a dude I haven't spoken to for a really long time. Hello, DQ. Hello, South Africa. How are things, man? Holy crap, we should catch up soon. Been a while. So, guys, if you guys didn't know, DQ right there, Shimano in the house. So, DQ and I go way, way back. We used to work together, and yeah, some good times there. So, what's been happening, DQ? Man, there's been a lot of developments here, DQ. You know, in the what do you call this? I don't know if you've seen, but Barracuda has just launched their new website. So that's probably going to be something good for you guys as well. How are things in Shimano land? Um, I wonder if this is DQ. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's what do you call this? I'm doing like these podcasts, right? I'd love to have you or Grant in one of them. Actually, it would be like great to have you and then Grant, you know. So to talk fishing, talk tackle and stuff. But what it is a it's basically an interview. So we go on what do you call this? We go on yeah, man, that would be great. What do you call this? The the thing I have actually, I've had you in mind. You know, it's just like things have been what do you call this? Um, kind of moving so fast. But I had you guys on mind, obviously, from the start and stuff. But I'm doing these interviews for people in the tackle industry and my, like friends, um, you know. But it'd be great, you know, to talk about just stuff really catching up. It's all it is. It's just catching up. I don't know if you've noticed, but check out the playlist, the fishing chat. It's what do you call this? It's just us one on one, and then I stream it on YouTube, and what do you call this? People like subscribers get to ask questions, you know, so it's fun. Oh, there we go. So that the camera is like. So how are things, DQ? Holy crap, man! There's been a lot of new tech coming out from Shimano, and you know, it's always nice to see. Hold on, let me fix this camera. There we go. It's always nice to see new tech coming out and stuff, and some interesting things from other brands, obviously. But as one of the standards, you know. And I always recommend, by the way, that's something that I always do because it's the right thing to do, right? And it's not because we worked together in the past and all that, but let me just take care of this thing. But I always say that Shimano and Daiwa are standards, and people should actually, especially when they're doing something like what do you call this? Slow jigging or fast jigging for the first time and everything, you know. They always say that, hey, buy Shimano, buy Daiwa, whatever is available. Especially for us here, I think I it's fair to say that, especially in the Middle East, when you're starting out, much better to actually go with either a Daiwa or Shimano, and that it's for guys that want ease in the fixing of things, you know. Shimano's always been like the leader because you can open it yourself. Whereas with Daiwa, for us here in the Middle East, it's kind of difficult because you can't open it yourself, right? So especially for me who can maintain the reels on my own, I always have a problem with Daiwa and the mag seals, whereas with Shimano, easier. There are no mag seals to worry about. You can open it, you can grease it yourself, you can degrease it, and all this. I think that's a big advantage. But if you're in Australia, kind of a different story because people can rely on their what do you call this? Their distributors there to take care of them. So a lot of people are using what do you call this? DQ. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that, man. By the way, guys, it's such an honor to actually have DQ here. DQ is a world champion bass fisherman. So aside from being like the guy from Shimano, he knows his fishing, man. We fished together quite a few times, and even if he's not in his element, and it's what do you call this, salt water, and he's a freshwater guy, but man, he picks things up fast. And he totally just loves fishing, and I think that's kind of true for those guys in the industry that are so passionate about their craft, right? I mean, there's very little in the industry that actually do the fishing, and a lot of people are just doing it for business. And this is something that I always emphasize. There's people that what do you call this? There's people that are in the business, that are in the positions to make decisions and stuff, but they are AXA. Uh, Good morning. So there's people in the industry that are decision makers, and they're not really fishermen, right? They're executives or workers that work in a company that happen to do fishing, right? As a business model. And then there are people like DQ that are very passionate about fishing, you know, um, and that, that are doing the job. So it's actually really good to have people like him in the industry. And I'm not just, you know, what do you call this? I'm not just saying that because he's here. I think you guys have actually heard me mention this about people in the industry and that they're really not fishermen. This is not the first time, but it's like DQ. Um, DQ is one of those. Instagram doesn't display emails unless you have a business profile. I would use a proxy email for a public facing address. You can spell it out, Rocks. You can just spell it out, dude. Your email, or like this channel's email address is like literally thefishingkit@gmail.com. So if you want to send me an email, go right ahead. There's a lot of companies that send me emails, dude, and it's it, it's just like for YouTube, it's pretty straightforward. It's channel name at gmail.com because it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. So yeah, going back to that, right? There's a lot of people in the industry that are very passionate about their fishing. Well, no. There's only a handful of people that are in the industry that are passionate about their fishing. A lot of the people that are in the industry are just workers, and they kind of don't really, fish. And of that handful that are passionate about their fishing, there's only a handful, like a small percentage of that really know their fishing. And DQ is one of those people. Yeah, he he's a professional bass fisherman, and he knows his stuff. So it's not only that he works for the company, one of our standards in the fishing industry. But he's literally one of those guys that you can go up to and freaking ask questions, and he would know the answers. And it's not only like secondhand information. It's never right. It's going to be firsthand from the guy or from a guy who does it, and that's very important. And I believe there should be a lot more people like that in capacities. Unfortunately, like any other industry, the fishing industry especially has a lot of politics. It's normal corporate politics. So you would you would have a hard time having someone on top that's really passionate and kind of knows what they're doing. And another thing that you have um, is ego. Oh my god, man, holy crap! Like you know it's like this is funny, right? Because it's kind of like a tackle shop owner. So it's like that in the corporate structure as well. Okay. um, for some weird reason, there is a phenomenon, and I don't know if you guys like freaking notice this, and I guess it's expectation or just overall image and whatnot. And also the funny thing is that the tackle shop owners, um, they're subjected to this, and then they kind of become what people think they are. Okay, but if you own a tackle shop, basically a lot of people would perceive you as someone knowledgeable, or is an expert, or it's the easiest way to become like an expert, like get your own tackle shop. That's it. Now, um, I would say a good chunk of these guys that go into the tackle business, they're not really the best anglers. And that's the truth. You know, there are some that are really really passionate about things, but um, not necessarily true that they're experts. You know, sometimes or what a lot of these are actually even the staff. Okay, the majority of the staff, it's like this. It's always secondhand information. You know, and that's the god honest truth. And it's funny too, because I see it a lot, right? I see it a lot. Now again, um, it might be just you could say that it's just an observation of mine, because I'm kind of not qualified to actually say who's an expert and who's not. Okay, it's the brand's decision, and who did they decide who an expert is. And that's what's funny, because it could be that a brand would actually give a status to someone who doesn't know crap, but is really good at promoting things, right? And you know what? I used that before. I used that trick before. So basically, what I've done was to get someone who isn't like um, super good, but he's good with people, right? And I would make him kind of like an inspiration for everyone else that's starting out, so they could say like, hey, look at this guy's actually doing like really good, right? So I I had that strategy, and I applied it, and thinking that people would want to see someone who's up and coming, that he knows he doesn't know much, but I'm giving him the status so that people would actually like have someone that's relatable, and that's very important. So that's one. And then I had another one that would be like above him, kind of like inspiration for like broader audience, and then he would know what he's doing, right? So a lot of people would be following him and stuff like that. So in this instance, it would be Gary. So this is the spot that Gary, what do you call this, occupied. And lower than him, there would be like someone who served as an inspiration for everyone that just started. Okay, his name's Ibrahim, and he's still around. He's a really really good friend of mine, and they know what I was doing because I explained it to them, right? And then above Gary, there'd be like people that people really know and respect. Okay, and these are people that kind of uh, everyone wants to aspire to be. They're really good at their craft. They're like at that level. Okay, so I had someone there, and then on top of that, I had people that were absolute legends that people knew that, oh my God, these guys, that's it. It's like they're the guys living the dream. So in that area, I had charter boat captains that are like um, that's really doing the stuff, right? So that was my structure for my marketing, and that worked really well because I basically had a really good structure that everyone would look at, and then they would go like, oh wow, okay, so there's this guy, and I would really pick. A lot of it was actually offline, but just having the association with the brand really made an impact. So that's that, right? So I believe that that's really something that should be used in the industry. For me, it was something that I picked up doing my jobs for like hotels and my experience with marketing, right? So that was kind of like the plan, and it worked really well. Now, what happened was that a lot of other brands copied one shape or form of that. So the very first brand to um, uh, introduce, let's say, pro staff and branded anglers here in the Middle East was actually Rapala. You know, and then everybody, including their dog, is now doing it. So that's where it started, folks. Variety, and all of that happened because DQ and the big boss Grant, gave me the free reign to do whatever I wanted, what I saw fit for the market here, and that was that. And we were very very successful. My gosh, it was like we were like the household brand name. Yeah, it was a good run. So yeah, that was a fun run. Anyway, um, Rox, are you sending me something? Oh, hello, Paul. How's Singapore? It is getting kind of cooler here, but I'm pretty sure that Singapore is getting kind of rainy. It's been a while since I actually done a live stream. My God, it feels like a really rainy morning. Yeah. So my wife is flying back from the Philippines, and we share the same weather system, right? And she said like kind of uh, kind of nice to actually experience the rain again. For us here, it's going to be some time before the weather kind of cools down. It kind of sucks actually. But I ventured out. Okay, I ventured out. I've done some fishing, um, and it seems okay for some of the what do you call this? Zach. So um, sorry. So it's like a few people are actually messaging me for like when the next live stream is. Like James has just messaged me, Zach as well. And, anyway, so yeah, man. Some stories from the past and all this, and yeah, these live streams. Holy crap! These are These are spoiling some people, huh? Actually, it's nice to see that people are actually looking for the live streams. I'm close to figuring out the perfect timing for these. So a little bit more data, I think, and then we would be able to. What do you call this? We would be able to set a good time for it. Okay. Um, the next guest that we have will be on the 18th, and then after our next guest, who's Peter Kozad. Okay, there's gonna be a few more, and I'm trying to lock things down, and I want to make it fairly regularly. The last time we had um, Dylan. Okay, so that's live now, and yeah, man, I miss these guys because like Dylan, I haven't fished for a long time. Hey, John. Ooh, Vanuatu. That's nice, man. Actually? Um, yeah, you share the same species of fish from Australia, right? In Vanuatu, but it's only that it's better fishing and bigger fish. So that's cool, dude. Roxo. Actually, you know what? My Instagram, it's not a personal Instagram, dude. So I don't know if it's a business account though. Oh, someone went fishing. Hey, Rob, what's up? Thank you very much. Dogtooth, wahoo, yellowfin, coral, trout, bass, and sharks. That's a bycatch. That's not bad. Rob, listen, man, I'm gonna try and do your recipe for that thing. Um, you know what we do with the dough balls? We don't use tap. So if we use dough balls for we actually use dough balls here for rabbit fish. So kind of didn't expect that to be used for brim. For brim here, some people actually use bread. So they just mash it down, but it's a specific type of bread, and they call milk bread, right? So they take the center, they knead it to a ball, put it on the hook, and lower it down, and then yeah, they catch like brim and stuff. Um, the the dough ball that we use specifically for rabbit fish, right? And usually that's in the colder months, so it's coming soon. So with the rabbit fish, it's the water in the area you fish in. So if you use fresh water, right, in the kitchen or whatnot, when you prepare, you don't get as much bites. So if you use the water, we just take flour with us, right? We go to the spot. But I think what I need to do is I might I might take some plain and with cheese or garlic as you suggested, and then compare that with like a mash that I will make with shrimp. I think that's something that I need to actually do because the dough balls make so much sense. Um, the problem I have with shrimp chunks is that when you put the shrimp chunks, obviously when you slice it, you can't really slice it in the same dimensions that you want, right? So they end up getting farmed. And usually I catch with the smaller segments, but when I reach the thicker segments, I don't catch the fish. So I think having it as a dough and actually making it into balls wherein that it can hide the hook would be very advantageous. So definitely something. Lure Walker, good morning, man. With you guys actually like around regularly, I'm thinking I should actually just live stream it around this time every day or regularly live stream. Yeah. And then we can have our usual video. So basically, guys, this is what happened, right? This is like the fuck up. So I went to the spot, right? And then so basically, the discussion, the next video. Um, what's up, Mackie? Nah, you don't mess anything up, man. It's actually nice to have you guys like, the usual suspects around. That's cool. So I have this big topic that I'm trying to tackle, and it's lure manipulation. Okay, but when I actually started doing it, um, wow, that's an early start for you, Lure Walker. So, so while I was actually doing it, what I've realized is that it's a big topic, So rather than actually focusing on the retrieve, there's actually a lot of things that I need to put in. Okay, and maybe I'm just um, too pedantic, about things, but um, okay, here's a lure, a blank, right? So um, there's factors within the lure itself that affect what you're doing up there, right? And then there's the rod, and then there's the reel, right? To some extent, the line and leader. So if you look at it, you go like, holy crap, man, that's a lot. There's a lot of stuff with the lures, a lot of stuff with the rod, the reel, the line, and then, believe it or not, where you're standing, a huge factor too. you know so if you're standing on flat ground, you're casting out. That's kind of different from when you're standing on a platform like a boat, a pier, a rock, or whatever, and that all affects how you manipulate the lure. So what started out as something very simple, as a general retrieve, how to retrieve lures sort of video, which I filmed from several sources. I had my at one point I had the GoPro, several times actually with the GoPro. I had my Handycam out, and I have all these videos. But then the very last video that I was taking of me casting, retrieving lures and stuff like that, kind of messed up because instead of actually filming regular, it filmed a hyperlapse. So like 2 hours, boom, condensed, and that sucked. We're in hard. Wondering if you do fishing with soft plastics inshore. Of course I do. If yes, please do share the best colors for different waters. Thanks in advance. 9:30 a.m. Yes, it's 9:30 a.m. in the UAE. We're in hard. Uh, best colors for different waters. I'll tell you one color that works for everything: white. All right. So white is a color that works inshore, offshore, in any water condition, because white adapts to whatever color the water is. Inshore soft plastic user, yeah. So for me, white is always something that I have, and it's probably the first and the last color that I usually, yeah, milk white, milk white. That's like one color I never run out of. And if I am what do you call this? If I am, yeah, white with a red head, that's fine and everything, but white, all white is a must for me. So any sort of soft plastic, I have, I always would have a white variant. Marlboro. Yeah, because it looks like a cigarette. Yeah. So, you know, white, even on flies, white is the color that catches the records. Okay, so you go to what do you call this? You go to a you go to a the IGFA database, and you'll find that white works, like even for flies and stuff. How about crankbaits? Again, white, silver, white. You know, for crankbaits, there's silver. See, with crankbaits, it's not only the visual, because you're only looking at the visual, right? Um, for crankbaits, it actually makes the vibration. So, like groupers, yes, white is like the most natural color. Hold on. Where is it? I'm looking for something. I'm gonna show you. Okay. Uh, there we go. It's specifically for yeah. There we go. All right. All right. So here we go. So grouper. These types. Okay. So these are storm Arashri rattling deep 25s. So for grouper specifically, these are like So you have stuff like this. Right there. What the hell? So one of my favorites, pink. Okay. I don't know if these are still available, but you'll always fix the cake white. So bone white with lips, man. I mean, like this one right here, I usually have the ratio for my white lures is actually like, take for example, if I have two of regular color, if I have two of these, I would have three whites. So I always will have more whites. If it, or something that has like a lot of white. Bone white, especially good with spooks. Oh, you guys want to see something? Check this out. Hold on. Check that out. I just made this, right? So I just made this the other day, and you could see like the shoddy paint job and everything. But yeah. So one of the most important lures for me would be one of these. Okay. Now the reason why it's black is because I wanted it to be kind of visible in any condition. So like take for example daytime, you would find that black is very visible, and when the fish are looking from underneath, guess what? They actually see, for top waters, they see black. Okay. And then nighttime, of course, black is like an excellent color. Stained water, as someone just mentioned it. Uh, leave it to a freaking Singaporean. Poja is saying like black for murky water, poor visibility water. You know why? Because it's never clear in Singapore. The water there is always freaking murky, right? So these guys are always using like dark colors and stuff. Black is good for late night or early morning before the sunrise. Yes, I mean black. I use black, like even in the what do you call this? In the when the sun is up, like up high. Okay. Hold on. Let me show you guys what I mean. So here's So here's one of my favorite lures. This is a like a pet project of mine from back in the day. So uh, before I worked on this, the shape was totally different. Okay, and because I worked on it, we have this now. When this was released, I was begging for this size. They finally kind of shared what do you call this? The smaller size with all of us after like a couple of years or after a year or so. So black was one of the colors that I insisted we should actually have. Aside from Psycho, Psycho was like my color, and also the green stuff, right? Which I don't normally use, but the green color, the SCAD color that you have, big eye SCAD color that you have in the color palette, literally comes from this noggin. And I sent them a. It was funny, right? Because they were asking for colors and stuff, and then I gave them a full list of the name of the big eye SCAD in different parts of the world, and show them that this is literally one of the biggest bait fish species that is available. Why don't we have this color? And then before you know it, bang, big eye SCAD was there. So that's my contribution to the color lineup right there. Pink is good, always rocks everywhere because fish are gay, and that's the only explanation why pink works so much. Now, pink is a very good color in any sort of condition as well, especially if you have pink that is UV reactive. Okay, and that is the god honest truth right there. Pink is one of the colors I would, in fact, Rodney, who was our salesman here, he would grab something green, and I would always grab pink. So whenever we're fishing, and let's say he runs out or I run out, we know that he would always have a reserve of colors that I use, and that I would have a reserve colors of what he uses. So he has pinks that he puts in his tackle box for me, and I have greens in my tackle box that I take for him. So when we run out, we just grab, and we never use like each other's colors. But pink was mine. It's like literally something that I live by, because I honestly believe that fish are gay. Okay, and they love pink. That's it. There's no other explanation. Any situation you won't use UV reactive colors when the water is too clear and shallow. UV reactive colors would be nice when, or is nice when the water is not what do you call this? When the water is not super clear. But when it's super clear, it scares the living daylights out of the fish. I think it becomes too bright, and we know that fish only go for the dumb ones. So when they're too bright, I mean, even with people, right? You see a woman, she's too bright, she's too smart, you don't really want to go because that will make your life difficult. So it's the same with fish. If they see something too bright, when you have a lot of clarity, right? That's it. Jesus Christ, that's a huge parallel, isn't it? When you have a lot of clarity in front of you, and you see a woman that's just too smart, you run. Right? It's the same with fish. It's like freaking instinct right there, boys. Oh gosh. Fire tiger. Color is the best for fresh water, and wondering if it works in salt water. Yes. Fire tiger is actually a UV reactive color. Okay, and it is a what do you call this? It is a Rapala original, I would say. Fire tiger, or at least when I was starting fishing, fire tiger was introduced, and it was first introduced on the Rapala Magnum, if I remember correctly. Uh, and I honestly believe that it is a spawn from a perch color, because it's like a perch color, only it has like a different green, you know. But Fire Tiger freaking works, man. Salt water, holy shit! I've caught so much on Fire Tiger. It's like my second most favorite color, or third actually. My first would be the black silver for the Rapala trolling lures, the magnums, CD magnums. So black silver, and then it would be GFR, gold fluorescent red, and then it would be like this. And then my secret weapon is like a pink mackerel. So, if you can find pink mackerel, that thing's like holy smokes, man. It's probably better than the black silver. And I've caught a ton more fish on pink mackerel than I have with black silver. But black silver is like way up there. That's like, you know. So anything silver with a black back, that color is probably the color that would catch you a lot of fish in the upper column. So when you're casting out lures and stuff, uh, before even, I would say before pink, I would use black silver. That's like, if things are tough, that's when I would use pink. But next to black silver, believe it or not, guys, it would be akakin or orange and red. But that's kind of, it depends on the time of day and the sun. Okay, and orange red, orange gold, or red gold is not a color that anyone can use and say like, oh, it could be very successful. I'm successful with this, because a lot of people have a really bad experience with it. Poop brown color is also good. Situational for me, but it works. Actually have poppers that are brown. Fish arrow. Uh, yeah, every color with a pearly white and a belly, especially for sea bass. I think any any color with a white belly is pretty standard. You know, I don't like yellow bellies. Red throats, white bellies, pure white bellies, and stuff like that. But never a yellow belly. Wink, wink. I like red gold at night. Yeah, yeah. Take it easy, Paul. Red gold. I've caught so many fish with red gold in like murky water. It's literally. I think I've caught a big barramundi in the Philippines with a red gold lure. And that's a story in itself too. And it's so weird, right? Because that place no one has cracked, and when I cracked it, um, people instantly became experts. But before that, before my catch, no one was catching like the big ones. But after I caught, all they did was actually go to the same spot and fish there, and they're the ones who are recognized as experts. So, wow. Okay, cool. Heard yellow fur works more than red fur on sabiki. Uh, White for sabiki, white and pink. That's it. What's up, Abdul? So like for me, for sabikis, I don't stray far from white and pink. I yeah, okay, there's red, there's yellow and all this, but always white, white and pink. It's just those two. Those two colors I never run out of as far as sabiki is concerned. And I also kind of like make my own sabiki. I don't buy, because from an early age I was taught by this old guy how to like make sabiki. So instead of actually buying, I have sabiki that work better. I tried yellow. I tried yellow. They work too, but um, like pink and white, always the top. And even when you look at sales figures, for people, because what it is like when you're selling stuff, right? You know exactly what color works because that's what a lot of people buy, and that's what a lot of people do, like return sales for. Okay, so return orders. So for sabikis, if you look, it's white and pink. There are sales for yellow and other colors and stuff, but they're not as high as white and pink. So you can actually think, you can actually, like, even on the ground level, you could go, you know. Yes, it depends though. It really depends, but that's kind of situational. But we're talking of something that would be kind of like, in general use every day. So um, I would be willing to argue that if you're using white, okay, here's something about sabikis, okay, and this goes back to like the fly fishing stuff, okay. Sabikis, majority of the time when you buy sabikis, they or when you choose what sabiki to use, the biggest mistake that you could do is actually choose something that's too bushy. So when you have a bushy sabiki, you will catch fish, no question about it, okay. But you will catch more fish as the fibers actually tend to get used up, because that's what pins it. And a thin sabiki, like a thin fly, catches more fish because it has more movement, it has more translucency, and the more it would look natural. Because guess what? Sabikis, they are designed to mimic small fish fry. Okay, and you don't get the same kind of transparency that the fish fry would have unless it's actually like, less bushy. The most sold ones here is red, but then there is 50 guys using red, and my multicolors a bit clean up. Yeah, white feather with 3 strands of UV pink does get hit a lot. Yeah, for like every day in and day out, you'll find that white is it. It is it at night as well, and bright green is a bit better than yellow. Red one is getting none. Yeah, it's situational, man. Like red only works in the daytime, and it kind of makes sense because guess what? Um, there's sunlight, okay? And if you look at the wavelengths, okay, um, when the sun hits the water, the very first color spectrum of sunlight to disappear in the water in the first um, 1 meter or so is actually infrared. So after 1 meter, red turns into a different color. In fact, if you look in the internet, you'll find that if you drop red down deep, it becomes black, like totally black. This is the whole concept of what do you call this? Seafloor control. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys this because you might think that I'm talking bull here. Okay, so hold on. Seafloor control. We go to the website. I'm gonna find the information first before. So in the daytime, yeah, I mean, if it's in the deep, right, except for yellow and blue, things become different. When it's deep, glow is the only one that. What do you call this? Glow is the only one that kind of becomes like, but there's different colors glows, right? So seafloor control. Um, I don't know where it is, but there's information on their website why they use red for their assist line. Because red um, disappears. It totally becomes black. But they have, I think it's in their YouTube or something. But look into that because you'll find that it becomes like super black. That's one of the reasons why they went with red on their assist lines, because red turns black when you drop it down, and black in the depths becomes invisible. And for them, when you put what do you call this? When you put that on a jig, it becomes literally invisible, and they could just see the jig. And that's very important, especially in the deep, because all these guys that use the hooks with the glow and all of that, that attracts a lot of smaller fish. And that's all and good when you're looking for just bites. But if you're fishing, if you're spending the time and the money and the resources to go out fishing to specifically catch big fish, smaller fish become a bother. So they try to eliminate everything and have the all the distractions, okay, and have the attraction on just the lure itself. So their thinking is, if they use black components on their hooks, boom. Yes, rocks. Part of the reason why it's pink, because it totally disappears in the first meter or so. Uh, so pink, red, in that spectrum, it turns into something different. But hold on. Let's do this right here, okay? Just so you guys can see. Um, share. Okay, so I'm gonna load this. Yellow is bright; it doesn't change. But like I said, it's very situational within her, because yellow, in some instances, could scare fish. You know, yellow could scare fish. That's the point. So there are some instances where yellow will catch a lot because it looks natural at that time. It could be the water, stained water and all of this. But day in and day out, okay, white is the color that catches the most. So from here, you can see how color changes, right? This is only up to about 155 feet, so less than 30 meters. And you can see how the colors actually change, right? So black turns gray. Yellow still is yellow. You go down deep, changes, like, your eyes kind of fool you. But you can see blue penetrates deep as well. Pink still remains pink. There's orange, kind of changes. And this is all, some of these are UV reactive colors. But look at red. Red turns black. So that's the interesting thing there, right? Purple turns blue. The greens, they all kind of become muted and sort of becomes yellow. But the deeper you go, the colors change, but you can see that, yellow turns kind of different, but it's still a shade of yellow. Pink remains pink. But the red, that's the most interesting color for me there is red. Because with the red, it turns black. So that's so if you see, Michael, to tell you honestly, uh, I haven't checked out the 25 model. I have the first TPXD, and there's no reason for me to change it. Um, my opinion is it depends on what you're going to use it for. Okay, always going to be like that. Uh, okay, so there's an interesting. So as far as this is why I always say, like, for me, color is very consequential, I would say. You know. Okay, hold on. Let's help Michael first. So Michael, I have not used the 25 model, okay, but what I know with Shimano is that they usually screw up after a few models, okay. So for me, I always stick with like the way I buy things. Okay, so like take for example the TPXD when it was first introduced, I was like, wow, this is such a good reel. Excuse me. It's one of those reels that I actually jumped the gun and bought like a first production model of, and then later on, when I saw that it was really good, um, I swapped my 5,000 model for a 4,000 because you know, 5,000 was a C, it was a compact body. So um, I bought, I swapped the first reel I had, waited for about a year or two, and then got like a 4,000 and a 3,000 at the same time. Okay, so the 3,000, no, the 4,000, I basically take a 5,000 size spool and smack it on there, and it becomes a 5,000. That's why I got the 4,000 instead. But it's good that you're seeing that there's a lot of bad reviews because I'll tell you what, in this era, okay, in this whole, I would say in the last couple of models, people have been moving to Daiwa. And I'm not trying to butter things up or whatever for Daiwa, but they have been actually doing a really good job in the past two reels, two model changes. Okay, so a lot of people that I know that have been buying reels, I haven't been buying reels for the last few years, but a lot of people I know that have been buying reels have actually moved to Daiwa for this instance, and some of them are like pretty hardcore Shimano guys. The build quality is always what they're complaining about. Again, these are not my words; these are like feedback from them, and they said that Shimano, the build quality is like it's light, it's smooth, and everything, but um, it's like what do you call this? It's like it's like metal from a tin. That's how they described it. So once they actually moved over to like Catalina or Saltiga and stuff like that, they said like, wow, these things are really good, and stuff like that. Again, not my words. These are feedback from people that have actually bought reels recently. Okay, so Michael, I really hope that helps. Not from me, but these are people I trust. Okay, so yes, and I have been hearing a lot about the TPXD, which is kind of unfortunate. People having issues with the spool, the rollers, the bail itself, the rotor, and a few people actually talking about the body as well. And with some nerds actually talking about the gear not being too good. So overall feedback is like kind of red flag. Yellow turned into gray, right? Going back to the colors and stuff. So, I mean, this is just 155 feet, okay? Um, so you are looking at 47 meters. And as you're going down, things change drastically, okay? Uh, Hold on. So there's actually a video I want to show you guys. Hmm, let me see if this is the one. There's very interesting stuff that you actually like see, but there's a Japanese guy that actually filmed um, deep water tie rubber, or was it Tenya? Um, and you could see the color change. It's weird. Also, like take for example, fish like snapper. When like they're kind of red, right? If you look under the water, they're gray. That's why people call them gray snapper as well. And then when you bring them up, they're red. It's the same with rubies and all that. They kind of look like goldfish, but as soon as you bring them up, they're like different fish. So it's one of those that you need to actually kind of look at. Um, Yeah, like Michael, with a Vanford, I usually don't recommend them unless you're doing like really light work. The one I have, which was before the Vanford, it's the um, before it was called the Vanford, it was actually called the Stradic CI4. So I got the 1000 because that's like pretty much the only size that doesn't flex because you're dealing with very, very light braid. Now, um, if you're dealing with heavier braid, like take for example what you would do with a 3000 and over, Vanford becomes kind of unwieldy because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that you will encounter one fish that's going to really flex it. Okay, it only takes one fish. So for me, when I'm buying gear, there's a lot of thought to the eventuality of actually dealing with that one fish. And it doesn't have to be like the fish of a lifetime. There's only that one fish. Okay. And recently, by the way, while I was fishing for smaller stuff, something bit the line, and I was using the CI4. Huh. I got reminded so rudely why I actually don't like the composite reels because um, I was using edging equipment and I was fishing for like small fish, like literally bait. Okay, but this is the type of fish that um, my wife wants for food, right? So I was fishing for them while waiting for the tide change, and something bit, and this was an anomaly. Okay, because that fish technically isn't supposed to exist in that water. Apparently he didn't get the memo. Freaking bit my bait, and while I was fighting it, um, the reel flexed. Okay, and this is with 0.4 braid or 0.3, something like that. The drag was set a bit tight. Okay, I admit that it was half-assed on my part, but then I was fishing for small fish that I was forcing in. But this fish totally owned me. So, yeah, it only takes that one fish. That's the moral of the story. So, I would say look for something else, you know. Other than that, I would say that in the past, the TPXD has been such an excellent platform, and I'm using mine. And I have one right now on my light shore jigging rod, and that's the first model. And boy, were they good. Now, my advice is if you can actually find an old new stock of the old one, like the first model, buy that. Because that thing, holy crap, man, it's so good. Hold on, let me show you. So I literally have it on this rod, Mike. Okay, so see, I literally have it on this rod, and I've used it. I've been using it for the last few sessions. So, um, hold on. Hello? Yes? You have you're outside? Okay, I'll send you location now. Around what time? Yeah, because okay. Right now. Okay, thank you, book it. I have a checkbook um, being delivered, so I have to send him my location. Just a second, boys. Siri location services on. Okay. Send current location. There we go. So I need my ID. Okay, Mike, this is the model I'm talking about. If you can find this, okay. Let me take this off. So I would say, and for anyone really, if you can find this model, okay, this is the first one. So um, if you can find a brand new one for this is like literally the best and error free of all the models. And I honestly believe that for the technology that you have here, you don't need the new stuff like the frills that they put in on the newer stuff. Uh, this compared to the newer model would be a bit heavier. That's pretty much the only drawback. So newer model is lighter, but then I believe that's where the problem starts as well. So for some people, it's like, uh, hold on, let me send a message. My friend, if I'm not here, can I leave my ID to my nanny? Because I might have to go. So the weight savings that you get. This is already a light reel, being like an MGL and all that. Already a light reel, and no doubt the durability of this was actually tested against GT. Like the newest models, they usually boast the lighter stuff. They would say that it's what do you call this? Lighter and all this, and mostly it's the sealing and all this. This is already sealed really well, okay, and it's not as heavy as a lot of people think it is, okay. Um, it's durable. There's no disputing that. All the newer models have is like better paint job, I think, you know. Yeah. So yeah, Mike, just go ahead and get the older model, and I'm telling you, it's really really good. You know, the newer models, there's a reason why the price is still the same. You know what I mean? The newer model has just a better paint job, lighter, a little bit lighter, but and by the way, uh, now if you want a 5,000, okay, if you want a 5,000, buy a 4,000, and then buy the 5,000 spool. The 5,000 spool, um, you can get it in Hedgehog Studio. Hedgehog would have the spool. Okay, so buy a 4,000 body and then buy a 5,000 spool, and guess what? You have two reels, right? So that's something that you should be doing. Someone asked you about the rec reel the other day. Isuzu makes one available on Digitaka. Yeah, okay. So Isuzu mostly for like what? Trout? I don't fish for trout. Yeah, it's Isuzu reels are like what? If you're fishing for trout and stuff, that's like big, you know. Um, they're good. A lot of people. It's kind of like what do you call this? Direct reel. There it is. Yeah. So it's a bait caster. It's kind of like the old school abus, you know. I mean, I don't have experience on this, although I have experience, some experience for like abus, but yeah, so they're old school bait casting reels. I mean, come on, man. It's you know, when you cast, it free spools. This does not. So when you cast, the 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 handles turn. Yeah. So so when you cast, the spool turns and the handle turns. That's why it's called a direct, because bait casting reels in the past were like that. So, you know, if you happen across like very old bait casting reels, you will find that when you cast, the handles also turn. You know, this is where the origin of heavier lures with bait casters come in, right? Because you needed the weight to be able to cast. That's why it's direct drive. So now you have free spool, right? That's where the term free spool comes. Because when you press, the spool becomes free of the drive or the gear. So old school. Yeah, dude, they're like niche. They're very niche. They're very niche. So what do you call this? It's like, do I have experience? I've tried that, like what, when I was a kid. I think we have one, like a very old reel. I forget what brand it is, but it was given to my dad. I tried it once and then I said, it's a fucking piece of shit. What the hell, man? You know? Um, it was weird, but I've tried it once and that was my only experience. I backlashed, you know, like, what the hell is that? Because, like, when I cast it up, when I saw the handles, you know, yeah, man, it's nah, it's not cool. But that was it. My only experience with direct drive reels. But those are very very old. Uh, I don't know why people are actually going. Like, I guess, you know what? Together with the trend of fiberglass rods, you know, so probably. Um, but I it's, for trout, people that go after trout, like in Japan, you know, uh, 24 certate, 4,000 with a 5,000. I'm not too sure. That's something that you're gonna have to ask, like the tackle shop, lure walker. I'm not familiar with like Daiwa, like too familiar. I only have a few Daiwa reels, so I can't help you there. But with Shimano, if the if the if the model of the reel has a C on it, it means it's compact. So it could be like a 3,000 body. You could put a 2,500 spool or even a 2,000. For 4,000, like a 5,000 C, it means that it shares the body with a 4,000, and then you can swap the spools. Okay, so that's that. At least that's what Shimano does. And so the C indicates compact. So it's a compact 5,000, which means you can put it in a 4,000 body. I want to buy a fiberglass rod for casting surface iron jigs. E-glass, right? So yeah, that uh, fishing syndicate. That's I don't know the brand, man. Seeker, I know. Kelstar, I know. Phoenix, but syndicate, I have no idea about. Certate, certate. Rocks is a it's it's kind of like a TPXD of Daiwa. It's about the same level. Exist. It depends on the market, man. ATA. Hello. You know your name is ATA. Your name is actually what we call squid ink in Cebuano. I'm not too sure about this whole Daiwa thing. You know, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar. So, but I know there are very expensive uh, light Daiwa stuff. I know some guys that are very familiar with Daiwa. Yeah, ataol means coffin, but ata means squid ink in Cebuano. So that's interesting. Um, um, you know, like I always say, you can never go wrong with either Shimano or Daiwa, and it's really up to you. It's like the what is that thing? Yeah, it's what do you call this? It's like Shimano has a shorter history than Daiwa. Daiwa has a very long history, and I think Daiwa, when it comes to some reels, they actually use less parts, which is good for durability. Um, Shimano, being small parts manufacturers in the bike industry, they had technology to make small moving parts. So they went into the real industry and became very successful, and kind of made Daiwa a good rival. And ever since then, they've been pushing each other and bringing things forward. But there are some years where one is better than the other, and I have to say that, and that's like as accurate as you can get. So this in the iteration for the past 2 or 3 models that have been kind of released, Daiwa has been doing better. Like if I had the money to buy Stellas right now, I wouldn't actually buy Stellas now, like this model. You know, I'd probably like go with Saltiga. You um, within her, Daiwa has a break-in period. Like take for example, the reel that I have now. Uh, it took me a while to get it broken in to be smooth. So um, when you buy Saltiga, okay, it starts out rough. Okay, it starts out rough, but it progressively becomes smoother over time. So if you have 2 reels, okay, 2 reels, Saltiga, both of them, same model, you use one for 1 year, okay, and you keep on using it. And then you open the brand new one, and then you try it, and you will go like, what the hell? Because things have changed. They do a lot of what do you call this, models that share names with what do you call this, with the bikes that I know, so that's the Conquest platform is actually pretty good, but again, I'm not too sure of the generation now. Okay, I have quite a few of the past generation. Okay, and I have stopped buying reels for a long time. My conventional reels uh, from the Conquest, I moved to the Blue Safaris for what do you call this, for the jigging stuff. Okay, um, the Ryoga or the Pluton in the West is a very good platform. Okay, uh, I have this to say because I I think the one of the first Ryogas, the Ryoga Bay jigging I've used, 2010, something like that. I caught a tuna with it, and 2010 we were light jigging, and we had to build a rod, or a friend of mine had to build a rod because there weren't rods available for that light. What do you call this, application? And I believe it was a Matagi blank when he built it, and that was Leng Chua Sifu. 2010 or earlier, maybe 2008 or 2010, somewhere there. But we were already like jigging, and it wasn't even a thing. But Daiwa and Shimano came out with these bay jigging rods, right? Uh, what do you call this? So we used it, right? Now here's the thing, and I've only used it extensively then. I don't know about the model now. Okay, it uh, how it looks compared to like a Conquest. Holy shit, it's ugly. It's like a Hummer. Um, like either you like how it looks or you don't, right? So while I was looking at it, I was like, man, that's such an ugly looking reel. But it is also the most comfortable reel that I've ever held, like in that size. Okay, so I might have found it really ugly, but man, when I was holding it and using it, it was crazy comfortable. Okay, so that was that was like a huge thing for me, like how it was ergonomically good. Okay, so again, something that what do you call this, something that I was very surprised about, and something that blew my mind. It was ugly as hell, but it was really good to hold. So um, yeah, I mean, it's just like that. Some people would not like how it looks, but no one can ever deny that it's so comfortable to use. Okay, comfortable to hold, because some reels, when you hold them, they feel weird. And even if it looks good, like a Conquest, you know um it when you hold it, it's good and all that, but exceptionally good with the Ryoga. So yeah, more than rods, he got a 13-foot casting. I see, 40-gram max. Nice. Okay, I have like a 12-foot shore jigging rod. uh, I like it. Yeah. What's the benefit of having a wider spool when slow jigging as opposed to a narrow? Very good. Okay, let me answer your question. Hold on. Okay. So, um, roughly about the same size. Okay. And then this is, you can see it's wider, right? There. Okay. So, um, what happens, James, is because the spool is narrow, okay, your line has no choice but to go down, not a lot of sideways. Okay. This has a lot of space going sideways. It's also like quite deep. So what happens when you're dropping down is that your line stack or the arbor becomes progressively smaller. Okay. What happens with a narrower reel is you will have the line drop deeper. Whereas with a wider spool, what happens is that since it's wide, the line stack becomes bigger compared to the narrower reel when you're dropping at the same depth. Now, with a smaller line stack, what happens is that your drag will become higher than normal. Okay, so as compared to this, so like take for example for this reel, if you set your drag at 7 kilos, by the time it's at the halfway point, it could be 10 kilos. Whereas with the what do you call this? With the wider spooled reel, it will be maybe 7.5, 8. Let's say you're dropping down 100 meters, or maybe like 150. Okay. Also, when you're reeling, the retrieve on a wider spooled reel will be higher because the line stack is bigger. So as you're reeling, the line progressively, or the retrieve ratio progressively goes faster and faster and faster. Okay, this one, it will retrieve lines slower. Okay, so that's the what do you call this? Although yes, it will actually progressively become faster, but it's a disadvantage, especially when you're slow jigging. So when you're slow jigging, you want a wider spool reel. Okay. So that you're able to take up more slack, and also you'll have more consistent drag. So that's why Shimano actually introduced the 2500 LD. It's wider. Now, if you actually go back to the videos I made several years ago, you'll find that um, the Osha jigger that I have is actually a PG, which I use for fast jigging because narrow spools are better for fast jigging. You don't have to level the line as much. Whereas with slow jigging, you want a wider spool reel so that the drag doesn't change, the retrieve ratio is faster because you always want to have contact with the jig, and you want the line to go into your reel as fast as possible so that the whole thing becomes very sensitive. Otherwise, kind of doesn't work. Uh, I'm building a rod and want to ask what you know about black hole blanks. Is it any good? Black hole, they're not bad. It depends on which one you're looking at. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been building black hole rods on black hole rod blanks. There are not a lot, but there are several Japanese brands that have black hole manufacture their blanks for them. That much I know. So yeah, not bad. Another Korean rod manufacturer, I believe, is called JS Company. Have not heard of them, but I'm sure there's a lot actually. Yeah, we're in hard. Like, dude, like what I said, uh, you know, they're ugly as fuck for some, like for me, but they're the most comfortable that I've ever used. So, I mean, what can I say, man? I'd take comfort anytime because at the end of the day, what happens, okay, is that you don't even look at the reel, you don't see it, while you're using it. So, yeah. But my situation's kind of different as well because I got conquests free, so it's that's why I have conquests. But maybe if I was working with Daiwa, I wouldn't complain. Like those are good reads. What can I say, man? That is how they rocked. That is exactly how they named it because there's nothing more than this. They said. At least that's what I heard. Nice day. Hey, what's up? What are you doing here, man? Aren't you fishing? Did you fish over the weekend? Any JDM for that matter. Like there's they have their own language, their jargon, and everything. The problem with Japanese manufacturers is that they leave it for people to kind of figure things out. Sometimes it pisses me off, because um, especially the Japanese, right? You have to look at their culture. And firstly, when it comes to JDM, you guys you have to like literally uh, realize this, okay? Um, Firstly, as far as the fishing culture in Japan is concerned, remember that's older, that's way older than it is in the West. Okay, uh, you look into the records of when the Japanese actually started to do fishing as a pastime, and you're looking into the past uh, of more than like 1,000 plus years. We're looking at pre-samurai era. Okay, when they did fishing as a leisure activity, and that's a big thing. So fishing culture in the Japanese, fishing culture in Japan, as far as sport or leisure type fishing is concerned, has been around for a really long time. So when they convey information, that's already with a pretext that people are educated about certain things already. It's a given. Because if they did more basic stuff or they explained more, it's kind of like insulting, you know? And then um, we, as people from outside of Japan, started buying JDM. Okay, we are adapting whatever it is to our needs. Okay, not necessarily for what they're specifically made to be used for. Okay, so like take for example, uh, for ultralight fishing, you could say that Soiree is a very good platform, but that's specifically for udging in Japan. Uh, so yeah, it's something. You know what I mean? So for us, we're actually just trying to adapt what whatever specific thing they have in Japan to be used for something for us. There are certain places, like take for example, the U.S. have trout, uh, and they could do like the BFS there for trout, and they could do exactly the same gear that people in Japan are using, but they will find that it's slightly different, and their taste for things would be slightly different. So, you know, there's always going to be that nuances. But the fact remains that when they convey information in their website, that's with the pretext that you already know what to do with these things. Up until this point, not a lot of companies in Japan have realized that a lot of people have started looking into their websites and wanting more information in a language that or in a format that they need. So that's the problem. That's actually one of the biggest problems that the Japanese industry is facing. Something I'm trying to fix with them, but I'm encountering a lot of resistance. That's not easy because for them their thinking is so localized, you know, and they're thinking that if you want to learn about Japanese stuff, you learn Japanese. Okay, so as far as there's quite a few species that are native to Japan that's slightly different. Okay, sea bass is one of them. Um, there's a difference in the number of rays, a few things about their habitat and all of this, but pretty much they're like kind of the same. Like take for example, a very big one is akame. Okay, an akame is the Japanese barramundi. So if you look into that, and they have gear and techniques specifically for that, you'll find that there's slight differences, but all it is like a barramundi. And it's listed as a different species, by the way. Sea bass is the same. So the sea bass that you would find in like, take, for example, Morocco or Egypt, or if there's sea bass in Egypt, I think there is. They farm them too. Wherever, it's kind of different from the sea bass that you find in Japan. Slightly, slightly. If you have to choose a jigging line to use for fast and deep waters, which one will you use? What am I using? YGK. YGK. Um, Barramundi. Jig ban, I believe. For one reel, that's what I use, and then it's all I can remember. And then Momoy. There's also Momoy jig line. That's that's what I have, I guess, in like most of my reels. Yeah, this should be. I mean, I haven't changed my line for quite some time. Um, Rocks. What are we talking about here? Barramundi or sea bass? If it's sea bass, they're very different from snook. Very different. And barramundi is also very different from snook. I guess they'd be similar, but I mean, totally different fish. Like the behavior is also kind of different. They imported barramundi in Florida. There's a pond there, or yeah, like a big pond, almost like a lake, really, that stocks barramundi. So if you want to like catch them in Florida, there's a place that you could go to for that. Um, but totally different fish, man. Sea bass, yeah, totally different. I would say from snook, totally different. Have you ever fished the South American Toronto? No, I haven't even heard of that fish. Well, sea bass, I mean, totally different family of fish. South American Dorado, no, I haven't. One of those fish I want to catch. Yeah, sea bass, very different. Like a lot of people actually say that barramundi and snook are kind of like from the same family, or they're close cousins or something. Sea bass are totally different, man. Totally different. Yeah, but totally different. Although there are some techniques that you can use that would be able to catch both for sure. Yeah, barramundi is more similar to snook than sea bass, I would say. You know, uh, I wouldn't think that there's something in the states that would be similar to sea bass. In the UK, they have the sea bass. Yeah, this sea bass that the Japanese have is totally different. There's sea bass, like striped bass is called sea bass as well, and then there's white sea bass in what do you call this, in California, which is also different. But the Suzuki, Shira Suzuki in Japan is a totally different fish, and I think the guys in the UK, what they call sea bass is quite close, different species, but quite close. In Europe they have it, but in the States they don't. But it's just a different fish, really. You know, have you do you have red or black drum where you're at? No, we don't. But I use similar techniques to catch a fish called grunter. So whatever or most of the techniques that you use for red drum actually work for a fish called grunter here. It's like these fish that you guys are mentioning are some fish that I actually want to catch. James, that's sad. Um, wow, California perch. No, totally different. I mean, I've looked into it. Uh, Asian sea bass. A lot of people call barramundi sea bass as well, but there's literally, okay. There's in the family of barramundi. Okay, there's one in Egypt that's very similar, and in Africa in general, it's called the Nile perch. Okay, so this Nile perch is humongous, but they're the largest of their kind for their family. And then there's the Japanese, at least like the more famous ones, right? And then there's I think something called a night fish that's also quite similar, and the barramundi, which is like available in the Philippines, in some parts, a lot of parts of Asia, and obviously Australia. But like these four, like they're representative of that genus, but most of these are not found in like North America. So Asia mostly, and there are barramundi in Florida, but they're imported, so they're not available there for. Snakehead is not a perch. Holy shit, no, never. It's different. Chana, that's a family from the Chana. What do you call this? Genus. So holy crap, man! Snakehead is not a perch. It's very far from a perch. Firstly, the snakeheads are. I think they're a part of a group of fish called the labyrinth fish. They're air breathers. So if you put a screen on top of the water, okay, they'll die. They'll literally drown because the snakehead goes up to gulp air and then goes down. So they're not able to breathe dissolved oxygen. They have gills, but it's mostly for display. Like weird ass fish, man. I still think the story of how you spent too much money on that ultralight baitcaster is funny. James, holy shit, man. There's never a day that I think about it and don't regret. Um, there is a fish called a climbing perch. Okay, that that's an air breather that okay, is a perch, but as far as the snakeheads are concerned, they're a totally different animal. I don't think they belong to the perch family. Big Oof, the baitcaster, it was an Abu Garcia LT, and I modified it and spent like $750 on the damn thing. It's like my lightest reel, you know. But yeah, I mean, spool for like $150, like the star for like, I don't know, $75-$50 or something, some dumb shit like that. Man. And then a lot of money spent on the brakes. I saw your precious video talking about Zen Zagan rods. Want to get your opinion on their offshore shooter stage too. The Zen Zagan is the only, like, that's only one rod too. So the only experience I have is that for the other things that's made by Zen, I can't say I have experience. There's zero experience there. Nice day. But if it's in the same vein as and quality as they do the Zen Zagan, holy shit! Yeah, for the money they're actually quite good. I guess the baitcaster helped you build a good gallery, which may have helped in other business. Uh, James, I don't know, man. I mean, when it comes to these things, um, all it gives you is like an experience, and mostly from that experience is if you learn from it, it's not to do it again. Sadly, I've done it 3 times. Rocks, yes, I have. I didn't film it though because I was still trying to figure things out. But I think now with the new rod I have, and also I've had issues with the GoPro. It was on hyperlapse, so I think and I'm waiting for the right tide. So maybe this afternoon or tomorrow, we'll see if I'm able to film. But I'm going there for casting. To film a casting video for you guys, manipulation and all that. Oh, excuse me. Hello? Yes? 38. Okay, just a second. Just a second, guys. I need to give my nanny something. Okay. Nay, nay. Pwede ko kuha sa buhay? Ano yung? Wala nang ganun. So a delivery, a delivery guy, a delivery guy for coffee for Kit is like what do you call this? It's a tier in the membership. It's like what do you call this? It's the entry level. If you want to support the channel more, basically, you buy me a coffee per month, right? So that's kind of like a donation for the what do you call this, for the channel. Budget, huh? John, I don't understand you. Um, big oof. Okay, so when it comes to like bearings, okay, when it comes to bearings, um, you have to upgrade your spool. to a lighter spool to be able to like cast lighter. So if you change your bearings without upgrading your spool, you're basically not getting a lot of gains. And this is Roxo, it's a figure of speech. So I've already had my morning coffee. It's a figure of speech. Um, they're offshore Model 2 variations, 7 foot 7'6". However, both has the same lower casting weight. Ah, um, it's just extra reach if that's the case. If it's like 7'6" and 7 feet, because in Asia specifically, nice day. You know how people are actually very sensitive about um, how to carry their stuff, right? So, like, take for example, some guys like rods that are shorter because they can put it in the car. Some like longer because they have longer casting distance and stuff. But as far as the action is concerned, they actually cut the blank from the butt, not the tip. So the action on the tip is actually the same. So they just cut the butt 6 inches shorter for the 7 footer. So they should have the same action. It's just that, you know, no, not at all. Not at all. It's not, I mean, if you cut the blank from the butt, the tip remains the same. And that's basically how you do it anyway. You don't cut the blank from the tip. So that as far as the action of the lure is concerned, that has a lot to do with the tip. Not really with what do you call this? I know what you're trying to do, Rox. That's why I just didn't respond to it. I mean, the star on the side of your name actually tells people you're a member. You know what I mean? And you guys are very well appreciated, by the way. So, because it helps me. It really helps me move around. It's like the income that you get from YouTube is not much. So, supplemental income from memberships and stuff really help because, like, at the end of the day, even if it could just get me gas, okay, and you know, if it helps me go to the spot, like right now, I'm trying to film stuff, right, and then I'm encountering issues. Like, okay, here's something. I'm I'm not trying to get more stuff from you guys, okay? So let me explain what's happening. So um, my graphics card conked out, and I couldn't edit videos for the longest time because the computer keeps on crashing every time I actually uh, render the file. So I've resorted to another software that doesn't use. And funny thing is that even if I don't use hardware acceleration, it crashes, right? So there was something wrong, and then eventually, what I found was that the graphics card was not. It's broken. So you know, I had to replace it, and luckily I had a spare one, which I put on, and then it works for now. So I'm happy, and this is why, I've decided like, hey, I had to go out to the field and do videos and all this. Yeah, well, that's what do you call this? If he's doing that, he's doing it smartly because he's investing everything back to the channel, which I'm doing as well. So basically, I have no resource to actually uh, get a new memory card, like or even get it fixed. But what I'm doing is using whatever I earn from YouTube to actually Discord. I have actually, but I'm not using it. Um, so what do you call this? With the money that I'm at Twitch. I have Twitch, but I'm not using it. No, I have an account. See a nice day. So like, the money that I'm getting from YouTube, I'm literally using to right now. I'm literally using to like do what do you call this? Like pay the internet, right? That's a huge chunk off of it because there's not much really, to tell you honestly, guys. There's not much, and then after that, the little that I have left, I'll use for gas. So now I actually can go to this spot that's near the house and do like you know casting videos so that when I discuss things about retrieves, um, which is like the very first project that I'm doing for after this whole uh, video card fiasco. And going back to what I was discussing earlier, I never thought that it would be like a very big topic. Yeah, I realized that rocks, but for me, like the Instagram to communicate with people, Twitch. I mean, what am I gonna do in Twitch? I'd rather do it on YouTube. Twitch is like for gamers mostly, right? If I was playing games, maybe I'd stream there, but this is fishing, and what I want is to actually have also a library of sorts for even these, so that people can always refer back to them. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. So, what I'm trying to do also is that when I'm really going fishing, and then there are techniques and stuff like that, I could just refer to like the videos, like the knowledge videos, right? So instead of actually asking questions, answering questions that are like not too detailed and stuff. So I'm making all these explainer videos so that when I really go fishing, then I could just refer. Like, take for example, they're asking like, what technique are you using? Soft plastics, and this is the video for soft plastics. What rod and reel? Like, what jigging rod and reel, and then I'll just refer them to yeah. So it's not like, don't get me wrong, guys. Um, I'm a professional in the digital sphere. You know, um, we run an agency for digital marketing, where we run an agency where I am in charge of digital marketing. So I've helped really big brands get get a really good digital footprint. So I kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to these things. It's just um, I also believe that for stuff like this, which is like in knowledge, information, and stuff like that, um, YouTube is a very good platform as opposed to Twitch. Twitch is actually very good when you're only streaming, um, and only for specific audiences. But as far as knowledge is concerned, YouTube's still the only platform, really. For quite a few things. If you want to learn, the second largest search engine in the world is YouTube. If you want to learn, you know, well, overall, it's actually like that. The second largest search engine used in the world is YouTube. If you don't know, it's like people go to YouTube to learn stuff. If you don't know how to cook something, you go to YouTube instead of Google, because people can relate more to videos of people like doing stuff than you going to a recipe. Like, if you know what you're doing, like really know what you're doing, if you know what sauteing is, if you know, like, if you have good knife skills and everything, if you know what you're doing in the kitchen, you can actually go to any website that has the recipe, and you would be able to cook whatever's there faithfully. But for a lot of humans, they go to YouTube and search for, let's say, how to cook beef rendang. You know, instead of actually going to a website, they would actually go to YouTube, and boom, you'll see someone there or several people actually showing you their version of beef rendang. So whichever one resonates with you, then it's that. So it's the same. Now fishing, largely, a lot of people see fishing as a form of entertainment. So a lot of the views that you find on YouTube are views specifically looking into people just fishing. They want to watch. It's a voyeuristic nature. You know what I mean? It's like video games. Even if you're not playing video games, you like watching people play video games, or probably, like this is how PewDiePie actually got big. Like watch me play sort of thing. So it's still the same with fishing. A lot of people just like watching other people fish. So yeah, fish porn. So you know, it's an entertainment thing, and the segment for education is actually quite small. And this is why I always say, there are people that come and you know they do their binge watching and stuff like that. Very few people actually go to learn. No, I get it. I get it, Rox. So, like for me, I've I've done I think TikTok, right? Is possible. The problem with TikTok, um, you know, the problem with TikTok is that again, it's entertainment. If I was doing fishing videos exclusively, let's say, catching videos and stuff, um, TikTok would be good. You know what I mean? Or even shorts. I stopped making shorts. So, in fact, I have a channel dedicated for shorts which has not picked up. But I still upload some information there from time to time. I even ask people to subscribe there if they want shorts. So I can create shorts, but you know, if it's just I want quality traffic because I've done shorts on these, and there are some people that actually joined with shorts. And guess what? These are some of these people. It's like these guys that actually comment. Like, look at the post that I just did. You know, it's like some guy commenting about this old video that I showed for the slow jigs. Like, try this unconventional slow jigging rig, and guess what? That thing actually worked. We tested it out, and we had fun with it and all that. And then he just goes, "Yeah, more plastic in the sea." Like, that's the kind of people that you actually attract when you're doing shorts. And there were a lot of them before. And the way I eliminated people like that was actually to stop shorts. Nah, yeah, James, engagement is engagement, but you know, um, I choose quality over quantity. Like honestly, would I have found you guys if I actually just uploaded stupid stuff? Like, like level with me here. Getting pushed to more people, yes, but actually getting quality subscribers that want to be here for the information, difficult. I've studied this. I've studied this. Like, look, if I just want to entertain people, see ya, big oof. Uh, for tickets, because my wife works for Emirates, and then for fishing related stuff, it would be sponsorships and what do you call this? Relationships. So yeah, I could get traveling cheap, and I can get just the tickets, not the hotels. And then for fishing gear, for my use, yeah, I could get them cheaper or free. But it's not to say that I could like get 10, I pay 10% and then sell it. You know what I mean? So like take for example my gear, I can get away with like um, asking brands for reels, but I can't ask them to sell. You know what I mean? So that so like for me, this is why I'm offering it to brands, right? For me to actually partner up with brands to be able to like carry their brand, go around the world, and educate, like do seminars and carry the brand with me, right? So the idea is that if I'm using a certain thing and I pick the brands, it's not as if I could just ask all the brands, you know. Mackie, that's exactly it. It is a fishing lecture discussion channel. It's not because what I want is to make better fishermen, better anglers, knowledgeable anglers, people that fish using skill, not luck. I'm taking the luck factor out. So for me, this channel is for people that really want to learn how to fish, not people who, you know, just go fishing for the sake of it. I want to make people fish better, to be able to be good anglers and good teachers, so that they can literally teach people others how to properly fish. Because look, man, the statistic is actually 10% of people that fish are the only ones that catch the fish. Okay, I want to make that statistic bigger because fishing as a hobby is a very healthy hobby, and if it actually took me away from bad shit when I was growing up, imagine if I'm able to do that for a lot more people, right? So if I'm able to help people become better anglers and they help kids get into the sport and help them stay away, help them stay away from all these like fucking shitty things that's happening now, like, phones and games and all that bullshit, you know. So that's the whole point. Like for me to be able to steer people in the right direction. Because guess what? A lot of companies are taking advantage of the very little information that they put out. And it's very difficult for people to navigate because they don't know what to buy. And when you buy by mistake, guess what? You buy more. Whose advantage? It's the sellers, right? It's the brand, it's the shops that make money off of mistakes. But the problem, it's all in good. Okay, fine, it's part of it. But the problem there is that if it hampers you from fishing properly and your experience becomes really bad, the likelihood of these people actually stopping the fishing or changing to a different type isn't that good. Yeah. So imagine if you're buying a lot more tackle and you're not able to fish. That totally defeats the purpose, right? So if you can actually like buy tackle and then go fishing and go fishing properly and actually catch the fish, it encourages you to actually do more of it, right? And if you're proficient at it and you're having family members that want to get into it and stuff like that, and you can guide them. So that's the type of audience that I'm looking for. Now, if these for the people that think they already know what they're doing, that they're better, that their type of fishing is better, if they think that they can't learn from these videos and all that, that's not my audience, man. If they want to be entertained, they can go somewhere else, you know so what I want are people that want to learn, and people that want to do things right. So hey, if you fit that type, then subscribe. If not, then all in good. That's fine. And trust me, the type of information that I'm actually putting out, they're not. I think you guys would be able to vouch for it, right? Not a lot of people, if not no one else, is talking about it. So like take for example, like this video that I'm trying to put together, right? Um, it's a topic that not a lot of people would actually talk about, right? Because instead of actually just, hey, here we go, here's how you reel in, this is how you work this lure. That's surface, that's shallow. So everyone else is doing it, but to be able to understand and to be able to actually just literally, you know, sit down, understand, and when you go out, you know that okay, this lure, the reason why it's behaving this way is because of this. You would know. You would know because you keep on asking yourself four whys. Why is it like this? Why is it like that? Why is it like this? Why is it like this? And you'd be able to answer successively. That's literally the mission of this channel, for you to keep on asking why and you to be able to answer it. Right? So instead of actually just making like a video of me casting, this is how you retrieve a lure, or this is how you retrieve this type of lure, and then I can make 50 videos saying, oh, this is how you retrieve an X-Wrap, this is how you retrieve like a crystal minnow, this is how you retrieve a spook, this is how you retrieve a magnum, this is how you retrieve like so and so, a stick bait, a popper, and all this. That's stupid. For me at least, there are some people that probably like that kind of thing. But what I'm trying to do for this particular video is explain to you how buoyancy works. That it's one of the factors that actually affect the action of the lure. Right? In fact, it's one of the major factors. Right? Um, like how standing on top of a rock changes the action. You know, how what do you call this? Being on the sand and level with the water is different. Like even if you're fishing in deeper water, So I want to be able to do all these things in one video. Instead of actually like showing you like stupid shit like, oh, this is how you work like this minnow. Like that's not gonna help your understanding of things, right? What I want is for you guys to understand exactly why things work. So this is the challenge, right? It's not easy. I'm telling you guys, it's not easy. So um Rob, that's so funny, Rob. um, James, your channel has taught me that everything needs to be intentional down to the hair placement on your assist hooks. um, you don't have to, James, you don't have to be super pedantic like that, and you don't need to be. Okay, but what I'm showing you guys is what the potential is of doing that. Because okay, here's a story, right? Just happened recently. So I won't name names, but there's a guy who actually asked me like, hey, is this assist hook okay? And what it was is an assist hook that's made for slow jigging. He cut one side and tied a knot on that. And then I said, um, I don't know about that, but what I can say is that you can't expect excellent results when you're doing things half-assed, right? I can't say for certain that it's wrong, but what I know is that if you half-ass things, you can't expect the fish that would bite that's sizable would actually just give up its life. You know what I mean? Rocco, never. I never got a good explanation my entire life about the difference between how one interacts with a spinning or casting combo on the hand. Well, yeah, but for some people it works, right? And it has nothing to do with the lure. It has a lot to do with the fishery. You know, so try an Eddie bomb in the Philippines, see if it works. You know, so let's see. Let's see if you can catch. But that's it. James, for rockfish, yeah, that probably work. You know, they're not the hardest fish to catch. Hold on, let me show you guys something. Okay, so this jig almost looks like an eddy bomb. Gosh, the hooks. Oops, just a second, boys. All right, see, this looks like an eddy bomb, right? But it's not. You know, flat surface here, whatever. So kind of looks like an eddy bomb. And then there's the what do you call this? The oval from Deep Liner. Actually has specific use. It works well. Everything, you know. Um, an eddy bomb you cannot deny works. When the fish are biting, anything will work. I mean, guys, I've caught a carrot. I've caught a fish with a carrot. Okay, and that was for a bet, but I done it. So um, it's not it's not impossible to catch fish with like odd stuff, you know. But I want you guys to be the guys that catch fish when no one else catches, and that's the whole point, you know. And that's not the time to be using an eddy bomb. Rocks. You know the type of information with the holding of the hand of the what do you call this with the spinning. A lot of people would argue with that, but if you think logically, then you'd be able to understand that. You know, a lot of people don't think logically, and they still want to argue because it's like their preference, and no one's wrong or no one's right except for them because it feels good to them, right? So um, a lot of justification there. A lot of people don't want to hold their jigging rod on their left hand because they might let go of it. I don't hold my jigging rod like super tight. When I'm jigging, even with a fast jig, it's like that. In fact, if you actually don't, if you hold it like that, it hampers the jigging motion. So for me, I just like that. I don't put power. I don't need power. That's why your drag's there too, so that it slips, right? So a lot of people justify mistakes because for them their logic isn't flawed. So it totally different if you have an open mind, if you think like, yeah, that makes sense, so yeah, that's good and everything. But if man, you know, if you're not thinking properly, well, not properly, but if you're not thinking logically, this channel wouldn't make sense to you. Um, James, that's jig. Yeah, it's actually made to actually do that. Action is also very tight, so it's uh, it's a jig you use to explore deeper water. So that's the idea of this jig. Um, James, that's a very good idea. Um, I have Mackie. Before we what do you call this? Before we get there, James, I will give you a very good example. Okay, and this is something that you should be actually doing now. Just a heads up for you, just so you know that you're actually in the right direction. Yeah, check this out. So I've been messing around with these things. Let's see. Alrighty. I don't know if and Mackie, I guess this is something that you should be looking at. So I've been messing around with these things, and these are neckties. Okay, so hold on. Let me show you, uh, James. Forgive you for what, dude? Hold on. Let me show you this because this is something that's going to point you to the right direction. Yeah, and um, at least to give you an idea of what you can do. It's uh, it's going to steer you in the right direction. Where is that freaking thing? There we go. So you are going to be doing something like this with an eddy bomb, and it would be very similar. Okay. Um, all right. Here we go. So what you're looking for, James, is going to be something like this. I prefer left-handed baitcaster instead of right-handed one when jigging on the bottom with a soft plastic. If you think again, rocks, that's on you. That depends. A lot of people would like do whatever. For me, I'm just explaining why I'm using baitcasters with the right handle, as opposed to left, and then why I reel with my left. That's it. So for people that think that they can for people that reel left, then that's there's a perfectly good explanation why it should be on the right. For guys that kind of want to do something else, yeah, that's your choice. So James, I don't know if you're seeing that. Yeah, I mean, people are free to do whatever they want, obviously, but there's a perfectly good explanation of why. That's why I always like this whole channel. It's like three letters. Why? That's it. It answers why. That's it. That is all it is. It's just why. And ask me for whys. Why, and I can answer it to the best of my ability. You know, but a lot of people would get annoyed. You know what I mean? That's the, I think, rocks. That's the thing there. The simplest things. And you know, what I found, like, yes, James. So if you look, it actually very similar to a trolling sinker. Mackie. Okay, going back to tie rubber. I fished tie rubber a lot for specific um, fish. You know, so I fish groupers and spangled emperors heavily with tie rubber. I love it. You know, there's uh, we'll talk about. I think the next series is going to be on tie rubber. That's what we're going to be discussing. Like the next year after I do this whole casting thing, okay? Because it's proven to be kind of difficult, but um, tie rubber would be next. The sliding piece could be anything, James. Uh, Lead free or otherwise. The sliding thing could be. I'll give you an idea. Hold on. Uh, where is that thing? Okay, so um, you know, there are sliding rigs that you can find in AliExpress or whatnot. This is one of them. Okay, I have to open this thing. So you can find these. I don't know. There's big stuff for this, but this is actually quite small. You can find this over at AliExpress. Okay, so you don't have to have like the sliding thing. You can have something like this, and then from there you can actually figure out how. So basically, it's just a swivel with an attachment bead. Okay, you could do the same with a like a drinking straw, like a rigid drinking straw. You know, lollipop stick and stuff. You can do something similar with a swivel, and then that's what you use for your sliding mechanism. Okay, so you know you have stuff in James. This is not rocket science. It looks so freaking easy. So basically, uh, what do you call this? A swivel, and then you can have like a straw, drinking straw, lollipop straw. Put it there, cut, burn the ends, and you have something like this. And then you can put your skirt. You can put your cook material here, and then you'll have your line going through, and then you have a solid ring at the very end, and then you can attach, or a split ring, and then you can attach your weight, and then boom, you have that thing that's similar, right? Easy, man. Now tie rubber itself, like making the head, very easy. You can make it out of, like, make a mold out of plaster. And if you guys wanna see some shit like that, I can do it for you. You know, it's not difficult. You know, I mean, we can, especially now that the weather's improving, we can do stuff like that if you guys want. You know. All right, Mackie. If look, it only takes one guy at least. You know what I mean? If you guys, if there's someone that's interested, I'm actually willing to do that for you guys, just to share information. But tie rubber itself as a fishing system is very easy. Okay, I'm even doing it. I'm even doing it from shore. So I'm getting ready to actually make like micro tie rubber, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's one of the things that I'm actually preparing to do is uh like I do my own testing, Mackie. But yeah, that's something that I'm gonna share now. A clue for you guys is actually the sinkers that I actually showed. Yeah. So sometimes I make something so obvious that it's so painful, and in the background I'm just laughing because I'm saying like, okay, I'm showing you guys this, but I'm doing something else. So James, think about the last stream in the sinker that I made, right? and then this. You know what I mean? So from there, you'll make it makes sense why the eye is big, or why I made the eye big. Yeah. So hold on. All right. I'm gonna show you guys this. Right? So I made this last time. So you just insert this there. And what do you get? Right? Or you could go fancy, and then you could attach a split ring, right? Hold on. All right. So this, then you have see. Right. And then you just add hooks. And guess what that is? Like 10 grams. So with this system, what you could do is just take this off. Oops. Right? And then I could just put whatever there. I could put, strands, whatever, hooks, and then simple. So sometimes I do stuff, I show you guys, but it's more than what I'm showing. So, like take for example for this one, I just said like, oh, I'm making sinkers and all that, but you have to be a bit more imaginative, guys. There's a lot more. I'm not gonna waste my time doing something for something so singular, right? So, having a three-way swivel, something like that gives it so much what do you call this flexibility. Like take for example, I could just put my line there, and then I have like a mini spreader bar with a hook here. That way it wouldn't tangle. So something like that. Okay, and then I could put embellishments like stranded material, and then I have hooks. It's a tie rod hook. So it's it's uh it's just being clever. Yes, they're called neckties. And now here's something that you could use. All right. So you know what? Of the number of people that are here, I mean, you could catch a lot of species with this, James. Um, there are a lot of brands. Hold on. Let's do something. Okay, let's do something cool, just so you guys can walk away with something nice. All right. So just based on this sinker, because this is a sinker that you can find. It's a ball sinker, right? And this is a sinker that you can literally find everywhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a really cool something out of it, right? Um, okay. I need that
that swivel that I showed you guys. Hold on. Where is that damn thing? See, I had it here and then I put it somewhere and then I totally forgot where it is. I'm gonna do something like super cool. And it's literally something that we're gonna be using too. So probably this is probably like the solution to that place that I am fishing that can't catch shit. Rob, I'm literally showing something very informative, but we have the sinker, okay? And we can paint this any color we want. Because remember, we have like colored shit, okay? So that, okay? And then we have stranded material, rubber legs or whatever. So I have these stranded materials that I could use, okay? So we're gonna do that. And since fish are gay, we're using pink. Okay. And then I'm gonna take some hooks. Okay. We will do like these really tiny ass number 6. Okay. So our materials are this stranded shit, hooks, this, and then I'm gonna look for braid. Okay, just a second. All right, so this is 80-pound braid. Okay. Right. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna tie the hooks. Okay. It could be anything. The weight is 10 grams, by the way. So I'm tying this here. And this is going to be quite short. Now, the line that we're using here is totally unnecessary because it's like super, what do you call this? But I mean, this is literally how you can make something out of nothing. Where's my freaking knife? So this is just like ordinary braid. Okay, it's 131, but you don't have to go that extreme. I have like one that I cannibalize off of, so you could use like cheap braid, doesn't matter. Okay, you have that. Now you have to figure out how long it would be. So for this particular one, we want it to be around that short here, maybe just around that length. Okay, so take it here. Broad water, it depends. There are areas where you could fast jig in like 30 meters or less. Okay, so there, it's just ordinary knots. I mean, you guys can go like complicated, or you can go really easy when it comes to these. Okay, so it might be longer than what we want, but it's fine. Okay. Now, just so I can sleep better at night, I'm gonna 200 meters. Yeah, sure. Like even 500. I can fast jig up to 500 meters. I have a rod that allows me, so 500 max. But that's the deepest that I'm willing to go for fast jigging. After that, it becomes kind of uncomfortable. So now I'm gonna run these through here. Okay, so that the length is fixed, so I can be predictable. Okay, so I'm using these two as spacers, and then I can just make an overhand knot here. And I'm passing through twice for the overhand. Okay, so that twice here. There we go. Nothing much, Rob. So I basically did this. Okay, so mm, just going to tighten this, and it's kind of important to actually tighten it um, equally. Okay. Okay, so did that. Okay, with me so far? Yeah. And here's the important thing. You see the spacing? That's very important. Has to be very consistent, right? So now you have your stranded material. And here we take this and we basically just go through that right there. This is braid. This is just braid. Okay, so you have that. Okay, and that. And this connects here. Basically, you tie your line there, here. And we'll do the whole 9 yards. Okay, this can be any color. Okay, let's do the work. Okay, this is powder coat. Okay, so we're gonna powder coat this thing. I'm not supposed to be showing you guys this because this is like a project that I'm actually doing. But since you guys asked, I'm shy that way. Here's the thing. So with this, right, you can actually put this on right there, and that's done. You know what I mean? But uh, dude, I had it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So there we go. Okay. Now all we need to do is actually cut this up, right? Okay. So what you want for this is the strands should be like just like that, that long. Okay, and it shouldn't be a lot. So we have that. Cut this there. Don't cut that. Okay. So we take this, like literally so freaking easy. The scoping out affect fast jigging as much as slow jigging. Um, with fast jigging, you use heavy jigs, so it still scopes, but you're not going to be staying on the bottom quite long. So what you want is to be able to just stay there for a bit and then leave. Okay, so there, because with fast jigging, you're just doing like things really fast, right? So you drop down and then jig. So it doesn't matter if you're scoping out because when you're jigging, it's moving. Hold on. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. All right. So it's just that, right? Just the strands you put in. It could be silicone. It could be anything. Okay. This is what I have. This is stuff they use for like bracelet making. It's rubber. Okay. So all it is you take 4 strands, put it there, put it through the eye of the swivel, just like that. Okay, like that. So the pink and the green kind of worked. Electric chicken, if you may. Okay, so for here, you need to find the way to secure it, and the best way to secure it I found is just a freaking knot, because you've tied it there, right? So let's take this off because we've measured it, right? So just take like that, exactly how you did with the braid. It's just to like put them in there like that. Okay, loop out and then tighten, and you'll have them secured just like that. Okay, clear. See that? See, and you can change the colors if you want. You want to be gayer than this, go right ahead. Now I find this a bit too long, so what I'll do is I'll just cut it right here. Okay, there. And if you have trust issues, just really tug on that. Okay, just like that. All right. Now, if you want, because you're gay, right? And if you want a bit more pizzazz, take one of these and then put it there. Although I won't really do this, but if you want, just if you want, okay. I mean, you already have the earrings, might as well have the bag. See, just like that. And what happens is when you pull it, this kind of twists, right? And but this depends on where you're at. So from where I'll be fishing, I'm not going to be using this. Okay, so it's just going to be like that. Now, this. Okay, so that's done. Okay, that's done. Let me take care of the trash first. All right, now we'd have to take care of the AC because we're gonna be burning shit. What is that thicker rubber called? It's called silicone rubber mat, and that's something that you actually go to the baking section for. Okay, I buy mine in Daiso. So basically, they're silicone sheets, and then you just cut them up. That's it. And then you'll find like this really squiggly, floppy thing. Now, if you're over 50, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Squiggly, floppy things. Boy, I'm sad for you guys. I'm like approaching that. I should be saying like I'm sad for me. All right, so this is 10 grams, okay, and this is powder paint, and you should actually shake this up before anything else. You know, don't breathe this shit; it'll kill you. So just let it. You shake it and you let it sit for a little bit. I'm not patient, so no. Okay, there's a puff that would go out. But now you take a lighter, you take your sinker, and you just burn the damn thing, right? Actually, you want to heat it up, but be very careful because if you overdo it, it will melt, and you don't want that. So just it's more efficient with the heat gun, obviously. So just heat it up like that, right? And then dip it down, swirl it around like merry-go-round, and then you have that. And then, okay, burn it again, just so it sticks. Now, if you want it brighter, dip it again. Okay, see, now it's pink. It's gay as fuck. And it's not just pink, it's pearl pink. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that, aren't you? Right? Look at that. Pearl balls. Now, at this point, what you want is to just let it cool down. Alrighty. So we let it cool down. Nail polish works as well, James, but that's even gayer than what I've done. So, and you know what fish want? The gayer it is, the more bites you get. So go right ahead, man. It's powder paint. You can actually go for, you look at Amazon and then you look at, what do you call this, powder paint for lures. And then you'll find that. It's the same stuff that they use for jig heads, you know. But I just want to show you guys, um, the stuff that I do. Now remember what I told when I said that I was going to use this for a sinker and all this. I didn't lie. I just didn't share this part. But it's actually the sinker that I use for that when I'm using bait. But at the same time, I'm also thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make a Thai rubber out of this, and this is it, right? Hold on. I'm gonna get some mono. Here we go. Because we're doing this on the cheap, I'm also taking like Daiso because guess what? Most of the stuff that you see here, you can probably find in Daiso, right? So, hey, King, what's up? So you see this? Now we have a pink ball, right? And then what we need to do is just take our thingamajigger here, put the line through, like so, right? Just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then we take our sinker, our pink sinker, right? And do whatever knot. And guess what? You can actually make this even gayer, right? You can make this even gayer, and having the fish um like even like with this, you can even make it gayer. Let me get some earrings. So with some beads, we're able to even give it a bit more accessories. Okay, so it's your choice whether you will put whatever color you want. Okay, but since we're in the theme for pink, let's just take like one or two pink uh, beads. Okay, pink beads. Or guess what? You know what? Let's go with orange because at least we'll have. Wait, I'm actually saying that because the orange was actually kind of easy, but now that I have the pink, we'll put pink. Okay, because I said orange because it kind of looked like orange was easier to take, but now that I have pink, let's go with pink. And I want to show you guys something later as well. Now that I said pink, the pink became kind of impossible to take for thin ink. Okay, I'm not gonna zoom this part in, guys, because that's just me having a hard time. Like, I'm not really good with my fingers. Um, like, you know, I'm not good with fingering. I'm sure you guys, some of you guys are probably more experienced in fingering than me. Uh, especially fingering these little things. Okay, I'll explain why I have these beads in the first place. Okay, right. So this whole thing kind of not random, boys, because these beads are actually UV reactive, as you can see there. Okay, and so is the material. So because I'm fishing something somewhere that's kind of murky, alrighty. So just a heads up. I know I might be joking around and stuff like that, but I hardly do random stuff. So okay, now that just Yeah, I'm in my office though. So my kid is at work, or sorry, at school. You know, our nanny's in the kitchen, and my wife's not here. So see, so they're UV reactive. Just a heads up. Okie dokie. Now, this, and I just do a uni knot here again. Just fingering the knot. It's easier, you know. You saw that with the middle finger. It's easier to actually just kind of spread it apart, you know. Right. See, there we go. That's it. And when you're pulling, when you drop this down, right, and you're pulling this, it just moves around. Fish nibble on it. Bang. Alrighty. So quite simple, quite easy, pretty straightforward. Just a freaking sinker, man. Keen, nothing. Just you know, sharing something that I'm gonna be doing. But that's that. Okay. So nothing to say here. Just some guys, you know, some guys like what do you call this? Roxo and James pushing me into a corner, showing them something, you know. So yeah, it's just yes, it is. It's they're opening a shop in Fujairah. Snapper like this rig, yes. Snapper, some grouper, and this is particularly small. And you know, it's I'm gonna catch brim with this, and some other idiot fish that would probably rear its ugly head onto this. But definitely something that you guys should try out, especially from shore. Yeah. So that will kill, man. That'll kill. It won't actually, James, because when you cast out, you let it sink and then you reel slowly. And with tie rubber, all you do is really reel slowly. That's it. You don't reel fast or anything. You just reel slowly. And I actually have a rod for Ika metal that I'm going to be using with this. So instead of actually using a conventional rod and reel, I have uh, a rod that has an absurdly thin uh, tip. Another rod that I could use this with is uh, these two right here. So this is a Dialuna. It has a solid tip. Uh, as you can see, it's already spooled with that. So, you know, kind of plan to do that. And then this one right here is uh, cross stage, also a solid tip. As you can see, the tip is super thin, almost like a toothpick, really. And it'd be good for something like this. So, I can just toss it out and then reel it in slowly, and then because of the really soft tip, right? Because of the really soft tip. But these rods are long, so I'm kind of hesitating whether I should be using them or not. But maybe I should actually, because you can just drop it down and jig it up and down, or you can cast it to the side and then reel it in. There are a lot of options, and we're keeping our options open. So yeah, um, and boom. with Roxo there. That's what she said. Yes, exactly. She said more, but she has manners because she knows how to not speak when her mouth is full. The Dagday Luna 1 I cast as best sea bass rod, right? I forgot what year. Maybe. I'm not too sure, but it's the old XR. Mohammed, I have a Shimano travel rod and it got stuck. I tried so many things to get it off. Can you advise me how to pull it out? Hot water, so like take for example, you have like a boiling pitcher or whatever, like or you know what, like a kettle, right? So you put it so that the nozzle points at you, and then you heat it up. Water, what do you call this? Water boiling and stuff, and then gloves that are really rubber gloves that can really grip. And then you heat the part that's actually stuck, right? You just heat it up, and then try to pull it out. Another way is for you to use your legs. So you put the rod behind your knees with the joint in the middle, and then you grip it, and then you use your legs to you basically spread your legs to pry the what do you call this, the part off. Um, Obviously, this is one of the rare times that you would be spreading your legs. Um, Otherwise, I'd be very worried about. Just a quick question. Is there any rule of thumb for picking the size of hook and thickness of assist cord? Um, 3/4. For fast jigs, it would be 3/4 of the size of the wire. Ice will actually make it contract. Hot steam will actually open it. The leg trick, man, you could do that. Also, you could do two people, one holding it tight again with the gloves, and don't hold anything else except the blank, and then you open it with the twisting motion. Also, once you get that off, what you need to do is actually put some wax. Candle would do, just candle. Beeswax is even better before you actually put it on, and yeah, it shouldn't be what do you call this? Make sure to apply wax next time. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I think. You just stole my words within her. How dare you? You know, or yeah, just the leg spreading bit. Just be careful, okay? Because that's scary shit, man. you want you want you know the other party for the leg spreading thing, but the for you to spread your legs, oh, careful there, buddy. There's nothing wrong with it, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it. It's just that just be careful, because it's some scary shit. All right, boys. Yeah, and then you can wax after that. Dickhead. Yeah, silicone works too. Now, listen, guys, I'm gonna prepare for what do you call this? It's been wow 3 hours, and it was fun, but I need to prepare because I need to pick up my wife. All right. Once I pick her up, and then I pick up my daughter, right, and then after that, I'm gonna check the tides because it might be that the tides would be nominal for the spot, so I might be going there and checking and trying this out, you know. So yeah, it'll be fun, right? So I'm gonna try this and other stuff because I have shrimp and all that. So I'm gonna be fishing for tiddlers, and then hopefully I'd be able to actually hook something because travel rod. No, I've been using two rods only, and one rod that I'm going to use would be the Yamaga iron shooter, and that's the one that I am going to be using for the demo because it's big enough so that it's kind of visible, you know. and hopefully we'll be able to hook something there. So it's just two rods. One rod would be like the small one, if not one of these rods right here. So we'll see. I'm not set exactly on what I'm going to be. What do you call this? Soft plastics. I I will use soft plastics and I might have like videos where I would be using like soft plastics for this spot. But today I'm using bait and this and some lures. Okay, but I promise I'll make like soft plastic videos because I'm after one specific fish within her. Okay, but if I am going after other fish, I'll use soft plastics and then we'll have some fun with that because I have like a shit ton of soft plastics, that I've been waiting to what do you call this use. Alrighty, all right, guys. So I'll see you guys later. That's it. Hopefully you're able to what do you call this? Hopefully you're able to get like the this stuff and you can make it yourself because man, this is so freaking easy. Anyone can do it. And by the way, James, you can peg this. Man, what's up with these fishing terms and like but what you could do is actually make it non-sliding. Okay, so what you could do is just take off these beads. Okay, and then put it on here like that, and then you can put like a rubber stop, a stop, you know, yeah, bobber stoppers, and you can prevent them from sliding up and down your line. And remember, as Mackie said, boys, keep your legs closed. Alrighty, that is it for this stream. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.